What's up, everybody? Mike Davis here at Fox 5 Studios inside the den for Sound Off Sports. A great show today. We're going to be talking about the MLB. Is there a salary cap issue? Plus, should Travis Kelce retire? We're breaking it all down and hearing your thoughts. SOS starts right now.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Sam and Ash.
Should the MLB implement a salary cap? Edson Ramirez on Facebook says, don't blame the Dodgers, blame the 29 other teams in the league.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sound Off Sports. Mike Davis here with my main man, James Edward Barrickman, the fourth. James, it's good to see you. A lot going on.
See you as well.
In the sports world.
No question.
We're talking a little bit of baseball today, which is good. Football's done a little bit, so Combine is getting geared up. But
we need that filler content until football's No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, people love baseball. I love baseball. One of the things, though, that's going on with baseball right now is, there's this discussion and conversation about parity in the MLB. The LA Dodgers, reigning champs, they have the largest payroll in the MLB, James. $392 million. The next closest team, the Mets, $321 million. There's only two teams in the MLB that have a payroll over $300 million, Dodgers and Mets. So it's crazy stuff. So we asked everybody at home whether, the MLB would benefit. Should Rob Manfred, the commissioner, implement a salary cap? Let's hear one response we got from the people at home.
You mentioned that the Dodgers have the highest payroll in baseball and the Marlins have the lowest. That is just an example of two polar opposites. Should there be a salary cap in baseball? Not necessarily. There should be a salary floor. And while we're on that, the Miami Marlins need to be studied in an Ivy League university laboratory. They historically will field a decent team and then sell all the good players and be terrible. They are in the terrible phase of their current state because they are only in the playoffs 2 years ago.
All right, great call there.
Thank you. Las Vegas.
Matt Las Vegas. Listen, the disparity between an example like that with the Marlins and the Dodgers, it's stark. Now, here's the problem.
I think that's why we're using that example. Yes, they are two polar opposites, but that's exactly why we're using them, because here's the team with the top payroll at almost $400 million and a God squad, right? And here's the team at the bottom of the barrel paying dudes $65 million total for 1 year of baseball. And it's ridiculous to have that kind of disparity.
And this is a team that has the Dodgers. They have 6 combined MVPs on the roster, 7 players that are going to be in 9-figure contracts. So you are building an all-star squad when you have those things. I say, to be fair, the Dodgers do have a TV deal, a regional cable deal, right, that pays them $334 million per year. So it's a good business. You can't say anything negative about the ownership group and the team and the fact that they want to compete and spend
it's
for
nothing
championships.
The Dodgers are doing. This is not on the Dodgers.
It's more so on...
It's on Major League Baseball.
But here's the problem, and this is where the issue really lies, is that the Players Association, which has already come out and spoken on this, they don't want the salary cap to become something implemented because they want players to be able to earn as much as they can.
That's to be expected.
That's their prerogative.
100%.
But let's talk about this because we've seen an increase in attendance since Manfred has implemented the pitch clock. So that's a good thing. This year in spring training, they've already been playing around with a robot umpire with calling some strikes. So there's movement and the game is changing in a positive direction. My question to you, James, because I think it's a no-brainer. You need a salary cap. Do you think, like Matt in Las Vegas saying there can just be a floor potentially? Is there nuances and ways to approach this, or should they just get on board with a salary cap and that's how you make baseball a little bit more, relevant compared to like the NFL in some leagues?
I don't think that you're going to be able to get the MLBPA to agree to a salary cap when this collective bargaining agreement expires in December 2026, right? I don't think we're going to get a salary cap immediately, but I do think you need to go all out if you're the MLB for a salary floor at least. And I think the MLBPA would agree with a salary floor as well. It only helps the players, and it would help the MLBPA. And I think when we're talking about these ratings, we saw the ratings jump up last season with the implementation of the pitch clock. Part of the MLB's decline in attendance and ratings, I think, is partially due to this competitive imbalance that we're seeing. You're losing half the fan bases at spring training because you have teams like the Dodgers and the Mets that are paying over $300 million. The Dodgers nearly $400 million in payroll, and you have teams like the Pirates, like the Athletics, and like the Marlins. Why are we even showing up? We know we're not going to be in it come October, and I think that's part of the reason why you're seeing a decline in ratings and attendance.
But the issue really comes down to, sports and the broadcasting of sports has taken a major hit and change over these years, and that's the issue, is that these regional networks, for the Dodgers to be able to make annually over $300 million just from a TV deal,
that's amazing.
The Milwaukee Brewers can't do that.
Right.
So inherently there's an issue there because, and that's part of, the onus is on the organization and the ownership group. But that's why you need a little bit more, of a system in place to make sure there's a competitive balance with these franchises. And I think it's a no-brainer. We'll see what occurs, what happens, but it's a fundamental issue with the game right now. I mean, anybody who says differently is just not watching the same sport. So I think it's something that we need, and hopefully once this, collective bargaining agreement in 2026 enters the mix, it's something we'll see. So we've seen the robot umpires, we've seen the pitch clock. Now we got to get on board with the salary cap. James, let's go to break. Let's get one more response as we head to break.
Should the MLB implement a salary cap? Don Konexker on Facebook says, there are rich teams, then there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap, then there's us. Isn't that just how baseball is?
What's up, guys? Mike Davis here in the Den at Fox 5 Studios. I am joined by a guy, one of the most recognizable faces, voices, people in our community, the great Mark Shunock. You know him from the Vegas Golden Knights, the Raiders, top-ranked boxing, the space, so much great stuff, Mark. It's great I'm so excited to finally have you in here. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Listen, I'm honored to be with you. We hang out with each other outside of work.
Yeah.
And this is kind of neat because it's a professional setting. I'm in your world now, and I'm really honored to have the opportunity. So thanks for having me.
Of course. Right now, early 2026 is when ground is going to be breaking. Opening 2028 is when we're hoping this is all going to happen. You got to go to thespacelv.com. Whatever you got, donate, help be a part of this. You want to be a part of this because when you're rocking the corner of Polaris and Harmon beanie or sweatshirt or whatever, hoodie, whatever you got, you want to feel like you're a part of this great movement. And it's taken so long to even just get here. And it's a beautiful thing that, this was an idea you've been discussing and speaking about for so many years. I remember kind of when you told me a little bit about it at one point. Is there going to be a Tim Hortons something with this?
Listen, I've talked to Tim Hortons. I think we're long overdue that we need a little Canadian coffee company.
Yes,
in
come on. We're already a hockey city. We kind of need the Tim Hortons, something like that. Listen, we got to have you back here to talk VGK and all that kind of stuff. But
Please.
Any last things? You told us so much. Anything we need to know more about the Space 2.0? Anything you want to tell our community? You could just say it right to the camera.
You wrapped it up beautifully. Listen, I love Las Vegas. It has been my home, my family, and I love it here. We're not going anywhere. And if you're watching and you think you don't have the resources to help, you can help in other ways. We always need volunteers. The change in your car, I'm not kidding, will go a long way to supporting this. And to our business leaders and C-suite executives, you're going to hear from me. I want to hear from you. Together we can make this happen. It's a building for your employees, plain and simple. And I'm passionate about it, as you can tell. I want to make it happen. We have a very special community here in Las Vegas, and I just want to help champion in a way that we can support each other as we move along.
Think about it like athletics. It's like if the Raiders or the Golden Knights have the beautiful facilities and the professionals that are assisting the team and the athletes on and off the ice or on and off the field, if we're doing that for our service people, imagine how much better the service is going to be. Imagine how much.
Great point, dude. I've never said that before. That is a great point.
But
I'm keeping that in the memory here.
It's really like that. Just credit me when you say it. Everybody at home, thespacelv.com. Change in your car, whatever you got, make sure you contribute this to this great initiative and the Space 2.0 because you're going to want to be a part of this. And I think this is really setting the tone for the next phase of what our city can be and the people that make this beautiful city run. It's the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Shunock. Thank you for everything you do for the city of Las Vegas. We love you, and thespacelv.com. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, guys, we'll be right back here in the den after a short commercial break.
Should Travis Kelce consider retirement? Eddie Pyle Williams on Facebook says he won't retire. He gets a $15 million incentive to play this season. He is too money hungry to turn it down, but yes, he should.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Sound Off Sports. Mike Davis here, James Edward Barrickman IV. Listen, Travis Kelce, we all know him, we love him.
Big Travis Kelce guy.
Boyfriend.
Fantasy championship in 2022.
There you go.
Always
Boyfriend of
that,
Taylor
Kelce.
Swift. He goes on his podcast with his brother, Jason Kelce, who I love even more. New Heights Pod. He says, listen, he's got to take some time to decide his future, whether he should stay playing for the Chiefs, whether he should retire. It's all on the table. We asked everybody at home what he should do. Let's hear our first response.
Mike, it's Jason. Hey, when it comes to Travis Kelce, as a fantasy football competitor, I say retire ASAP. He did nothing for me. But if I was his agent or a friend, I would say do one more year and make sure you make up your mind before March 14th when you have 11.5 million reasons to play for another year, which I believe is his bonus if he does that last year. So personally, I say retire. And then we don't have to worry about booing Taylor Swift anymore. Okay.
All right, so thank you to Jason Feinberg, my co-host with the Fantasy Goat. Shout out
Love
to
Feinberg.
him. Great response there. So he brings up a good point, because he is going to be turning 36 this year. And listen, he's already a future Hall of Famer. We know all that stuff.
Right.
When it comes to in-season, he's third all-time in receptions, third all-time in reception yards, fifth in TDs. And then in the postseason, he's even better. He's first in receptions, second in reception yards, second in touchdowns. So first ballot Hall of Famer, top 3-5 tight end, whatever you think when it comes to that position in the NFL and can. But this year he took a dip.
Yeah.
His production took a major dip. His career lows in yards with 823 and 3 touchdowns. Outside of his first season where he was a rookie, those were the worst numbers he's ever had.
Second worst season of his career. That's tough.
So, how much of it is him kind of like making sure his body is there for the playoffs because they don't need him so much during the regular season? How much of it is just a natural decline? When it comes to a fantasy perspective, and like Jason's saying, it's pretty evident,
Yeah, and you can tell one just by watching him. He used to really use leverage and momentum to kind of shake defenders off of him and get open on routes. He doesn't quite have that anymore.
Yeah,
and it's sad to see.
The
but
athletic
it comes for
ability.
Everybody. Yeah,
Yes.
the natural ability isn't quite there anymore.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Father Time's undefeated.
But here's where I kind of stand on the issue. Sure, Jason's saying from a fantasy perspective, he's not that first, second round pick anymore. And
Of course not.
That's clear. But he still plays for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Couldn't agree more.
It's you're not playing tight end for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
You're going to be in a position to compete and play for a Super Bowl each and every year. So I think you would have to
Not to mention, and you're still top 5 to 7 at your position. It's not like you can't play anymore. Yeah, you're not the star that you used to be.
No.
But you can still play. And when you have number 15 and you have big Andy Reid drawing everything up for you, you don't retire mid-dynasty. You just don't.
Right. And I think he's already built a great nest egg and situation for himself media companies are going to become calling.
Yeah.
Amazon already bought his podcast. So he's set up. I don't think it matters if he retires this year or next year or 2 years down the road. He's set up. So it's really just about him and his body and what he wants to do. I think what we've heard from most players in the past is like, you just know when it's time, you know, when your body can't handle it anymore. You know, there's been many stories on that. The problem is once you hang it up, you kind of hang it up. And, you know, he's one of those guys who loves the game. He wasn't the most highly touted prospect of all time, you know? So this is a guy who's really has shown tremendous ability and growth throughout from Cincinnati to coming to the Chiefs. So you would think he's going to want to hang on as long as he can.
No question about it. And not to mention, you don't pass up $11.5 million in whenever March, whenever that bonus kicks in, right? So on top of the $11.5 million, we've heard the team come out and say they do expect him to be back next season. I think we'll see number 87 out there when the next NFL season rolls around.
And we've seen like the development of guys like Noah Gray and other stuff who it looks like they've already begun the work to try to fill the void of when Kelce's gone. So
they have other younger talent, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. They have guys that will, as he continues to decline, it'll be like that picture of Master Splinter and the Ninja Turtles. You know, when Travis Kelce's holding them as little tiny turtles. That's what it's going to be like, except it's going to be with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and Travis Kelce.
You're calling Travis Kelce a rat? Is that what you're calling? Wasn't Splinter a rat? He was a mouse.
He was a giant rat.
Yeah, a giant rat. It's interesting. Are you of the ilk, James, where you would, like, if you were in his position, would you want to retire prematurely so your game doesn't decline and people remember you for the superstar that you are? Or would you hang on as long as possible and you don't even care if you become, you know, bottom of the NFL kind of player?
I'd be squeezing every last bit of juice out of that orange that I could. Especially when you're, again, I know I've been hammering this a lot, but you're playing with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and one of the greatest offensive minds of all time.
Yeah.
You are mid-dynasty and still top 5 to 7 at your position. Yes, you're getting older. Yes, you don't quite have it like you used to, but you could still play another 2 to 3 seasons and you might have 2 more Super Bowl rings by the end of this. I wouldn't hang it up.
Right. I don't think you can. And I think the NFL, I mean, Roger Goodell, the NFL in general, they're like, please hold on as long as you can. They want to keep the Taylor Swift train going as much as possible. So I think he's going to probably decide to stay. I could see how maybe they would almost implement, like in the NBA, kind of like a schedule so he can get a little bit more, I could see him being on a few more injury reports, maybe not getting as much action throughout the regular season, just so he can sustain
keep his body
ready for what really matters, which is the playoffs. Guys, coming up after a short break, there's a lot of big news when it comes to Las Vegas and the quarterback position. Matthew Stafford's name has been thrown around by a lot of outlets right now. We're going to be talking about that and if that's a good fit coming up next.
Should Travis Kelce consider retirement? Ronnie Escalante on Facebook says, does it mean we wouldn't have to see Taylor Swift on TV every Sunday?
All right, welcome back to Sound Off Sports. James, very interesting developments in the world of the Raiders and that quarterback position that everybody keeps talking about. Tom Brady vacationing in his Montana home. Guys like Ian Rappaport have said that Tom Brady has bumped into Matthew Stafford. Other people reporting that they actually had maybe a little bit of a meeting. I don't know if that's even possible with the tampering and,
I'm not sure when
how that all works
up and when that is ready to go.
Yeah, but he's also like an owner and a broadcaster, so that's why the whole Tom Brady element of this is fascinating in itself. My question to you, if in fact Tom Brady's taking an active role with the Raiders and all this decision-making, who should be at the helm of the most important position in all of sports, we both are big fans of Matthew Stafford.
Love Frat Stafford.
Super Bowl winning champion. Yep. He really is elite. I mean, even in the playoff game this year with the Eagles, I mean, playing in that snow game, he's throwing dimes. I mean, he's incredible.
If it wasn't snowing, Pratt wins them that game. I'll stand on that.
He's super tough.
Yeah.
He's just super accurate. He's a winner. You got to love him. My question to you, all this new momentum the Raiders have with Pete Carroll, John Spytek, becoming a real grown-up organization. Is Matthew Stafford the guy they should be targeting, or is he kind of already too old and we gotta start from the ground up? Because Stafford coming to the Raiders means you're competing now.
Right. And I think it depends how much they like their options in Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Because,
and how realistic it is.
Right, and because Matthew Stafford, he's old and expensive. So are you trying to turn this ship around in one season, or are you trying to make this a true rebuild? And I think that's what the Raiders need to decide. I would personally go the rookie QB route, and I don't know why Matt Stafford would want to come to the Raiders in the first place, or why he would ever want to leave LA. I don't think they're willing to pay him what he wants, and I get that. But Fred, think about your legacy here. Some things are more important than money. Stick with Sean McVay in LA. You're going to be okay.
He's not a money guy. I'm surprised that Snead and McVay are even trying to move off of him to go for the younger route. I don't particularly get it. But here's what I will say. I am in cohesion with you. I would say you got to probably rebuild this from the ground up, get the younger guy. But Matthew Stafford is different to me than Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold.
I'd rather have Matt Stafford than Aaron Rodgers, no question.
Even more than Sam Darnold in my book. Like, I think if you can get Matt Stafford, and the concept is we're still going to try to get Shedeur, we're still going to try to get that rookie QB, but we're going to have Stafford in the building and provide a smooth transition to this new type of organization. I do think it's like you're getting your hands on one of the preeminent leaders in the clubhouse. Like, I like
bring in a Hall of Famer, draft a rookie, and then groom this rookie under the Hall of Famer. I love that idea.
I like that. I think he's a very likable dude. It's not like having, Aaron Rodgers in the clubhouse. So I like that move, and I think it's much better than trying to just do something middle of the road and go for Geno Smith. So, we both are big fans of Matt Stafford here in the Den at Fox 5 Studios. We appreciate all the great responses to Matt, to Jason, to everybody at home who wrote us on Facebook. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time here for Sound Off Sports in the Den. For James and Mike, we'll see you next time.